Seniors, what if I told you that 5 of your favorite convenience foods are secretly stealing your minutes, hours, even years of life? I'm a doctor from GoldenYears Health Hub, and today we're uncovering the hidden dangers in everyday dishes you thought were harmless. And you might be surprised to learn that some of your favorite comfort foods are quietly sabotaging your health. From seemingly innocent salads to the humble grilled cheese, these dishes can shortcut your life. We'll kick things off with a hard look at processed meats, those juicy hot dogs and deli slices packed with sodium and nitrates. Then it's on to sugary drinks, from colas to energy boosters, and how that liquid sugar spike silently stresses your pancreas. Next, we sizzle into fried foods, those golden, crispy cravings that may taste heavenly but deliver a heavy dose of trans fats. We'll also pop open a can of soups and stews, revealing the hidden salt and preservatives lurking behind comforting flavors. And finally, we'll snack down on ultra-processed treats, the crisps, bars, and puffs engineered for endless munching. Along the way, you'll hear real-life stories of families who swapped out these staples and saw their health turn around. You'll get chef demos showing simple, satisfying replacements, like zucchini fries instead of potato fries, or spa water infusions in place of sugary soda. Dish number 1, processed meats. Each 50 grams per day increment of processed meat, roughly 1 hot dog or 2 slices of bacon, is conclusively linked to substantial increases in multiple health risks, driven by chemical and cooking-related carcinogens, as well as high sodium content. Mechanistic research pinpoints N-nitroso compounds formed from nitrites, heme-ion-catalyzed oxidation products, and heat-derived HCAs PAHs as mutagenic agents in the colon, while excess sodium exacerbates hypertension and cardiovascular strain. Large-scale meta-analyses confirm an 18% rise in colorectal cancer, a 42% increase in coronary heart disease, a 12 to 14% higher hypertension risk per serving, and up to a 15% greater incidence of type 2 diabetes. Leading health bodies now recommend keeping processed meat intake well below 50 grams per day, favoring plant-based proteins and unprocessed lean meats to mitigate these hazards. When nitrates, E249 to E252, in processed meats are heated above 120 degrees Celsius, they convert into potent carcinogenic nitrosamines. Nitrosamines alkylate DNA bases, causing point mutations and chromosomal aberrations that hinder accurate genetic replication. Regular consumption of high-heat cooked cured meats leads to cumulative oxidative stress and DNA strand breaks over time. Epidemiological data shows seniors, 60+, with decades of nitrate exposure have up to 45% more DNA damage markers in lymphocytes. Compromised DNA repair accelerates the emergence of precancerous cells in the colon, stomach, and esophagus. Long-term exposure raises colorectal and gastric cancer risk by 20 to 30% in populations over 50. Nitrosamines also trigger endothelial dysfunction, promoting atherosclerosis and heightening heart attack risk. Meet Alice, 72, who had long loved starting her day with a bacon sandwich. After her third precancerous colon polyp was discovered, she realized it was time for a change. Research shows processed meat consumption can raise colorectal polyp risk by nearly 30%. Determined to protect her health, Alice swapped bacon for lean grilled turkey breast at breakfast. Lean poultry contains significantly fewer nitrates and nitrites than cured meats. Within months, her doctor noted decreases in inflammatory markers from her stool tests. 1 year later, her follow-up colonoscopy showed no new polyps and reversed markers. Alice now enjoys grilled turkey on whole grain bread with fresh vegetables every morning. She credits this simple swap for sparing her further invasive procedures. Her story highlights how modest dietary changes can dramatically reduce colon polyp recurrence. Myth: turkey dogs are safe. This is a common misconception, since turkey hot dogs, like all processed meats such as beef or pork variants, contain nitrites and sodium compounds that serve as preservatives. These nitrites can form carcinogenic N-nitroso compounds during high-heat cooking or digestion, damaging DNA and increasing cancer risk. Additionally, high sodium intake from any cured meats is linked to hypertension and elevated cardiovascular risk. Both nitrite and sodium exposures are comparable across processed meat types, meaning substituting turkey for pork does not eliminate these chemical hazards. Therefore, consumers should regard all processed hot dogs equally when considering dietary risks and limit their intake accordingly. Understanding these facts empowers individuals to make informed dietary choices, favoring fresh, unprocessed foods to support long-term gut and cardiovascular health. Swap your classic BLT for a nutrient-dense makeover. Toast hearty whole-grain bread, then layer on smoky grilled salmon strips rich in omega-3s. Add creamy avocado slices loaded with heart-healthy monounsaturated fats, top with crisp fresh greens, and finish with a squeeze of lemon. This simple upgrade boosts fiber, antioxidants, and protein for a satisfying, wholesome meal that fuels your day. Dish number 2. Sugary drinks. Sugary drinks, sodas, fruit juices, sports drinks, pack liquid sugar bombs, often delivering 30 to 40 grams of added sugar per serving, far exceeding daily recommendations. Regular consumption of 2 or more servings a day is linked to a 17% increase in all-cause mortality, underscoring their hidden health toll. Each can of soda may shave off approximately 12 minutes of lifespan, a stark reminder that these beverages carry real consequences. High sugar intake from these drinks fuels rapid blood glucose spikes, fostering insulin resistance and increasing type 2 diabetes risk by up to 26%. Beyond metabolic disease, excessive sugary drink consumption promotes obesity and visceral fat accumulation, key drivers of cardiovascular illness. Even 100% fruit juices contribute significantly to calorie load and health risks, offering little advantage over sodas. A large-scale analysis of over 65,000 European adults demonstrated that individuals consuming 2 or more sugar-sweetened beverage cans per day experienced a 17% increase in combined cardiovascular disease and cancer mortality compared to those drinking fewer than 1 can monthly. These findings, published by the International Agency for Research on Cancer, IARC, and supported by data from the European Prospective Investigation into Cancer and Nutrition, EPIC cohort, highlight the profound public health implications of habitual high intake of sweetened drinks across diverse European populations. In this cohort, participants were tracked for an average of 16 years, during which the hazard ratio for all-cause death among heavy sugary drink consumers, greater than or equal to 2 cans per day, was 1.17, 95% confidence interval, 1.1, 1 to 1.22, signifying a 17% higher risk of dying from cardiovascular or cancer-related causes. Notably, the study adjusted for confounders including age, sex, body mass index, smoking status, and physical activity. I used to start my mornings with a glass of orange juice, thinking it was a healthy choice. However, I often experienced energy crashes shortly afterward. After learning that fruit juices can cause rapid spikes in blood sugar due to their high sugar content and lack of fiber, I decided to make a change. I swapped my orange juice for infused water, adding slices of lemon, cucumber, or berries to plain water. This simple switch eliminated the sugar crashes, and within 3 months, my A1C dropped by 1 point. Infused water not only keeps me hydrated, but also helps in maintaining stable blood sugar levels. It's a refreshing and beneficial alternative that has made a significant difference in my health. Liquid sugars, such as sodas and fruit juices, are rapidly absorbed and trigger an immediate insulin surge due to their high glycemic load. Unlike solid foods that contain fiber and require digestion, these beverages bypass satiety mechanisms in the gut and brain, failing to produce fullness signals. This lack of satiety often leads to overconsumption of calories and contributes significantly to weight gain, as confirmed by multiple meta-analyses of sugar-sweetened beverage consumption. Chronically elevated insulin levels promote adipogenesis and fat storage, especially in visceral depots associated with greater metabolic risk. Excess circulating insulin and glucose impair insulin receptor signaling in muscle and liver tissue, resulting in insulin resistance and reduced glucose uptake. Over time, sustained high sugar intake drives hepatic de novo lipogenesis, leading to the accumulation of triglycerides and development of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Transform your hydration routine with spa water, a refreshing blend of cucumber, lemon, and mint that delivers big flavor without added sugar, gentle on your pancreas and perfect for daily sipping. To prepare, thinly slice half a cucumber and 1 lemon and combine them with 12 fresh mint leaves in a large pitcher. Add 6 cups of cold, filtered water, stir well, and refrigerate for at least 1 hour to allow the flavors to infuse. Dish number 3, fried foods. Fried foods are beloved comfort classics, but daily consumption may carry serious health risks, especially for women over 60. A large-scale study from the Women's Health Initiative involving over 106,000 postmenopausal women aged 50 to 79 found that those who consumed at least 1 serving of fried chicken per day had a 13% higher risk of death from any cause compared to those who avoided fried foods. Similarly, daily consumption of fried fish or shellfish was associated with a 7% increase in all-cause mortality. These associations were particularly strong for cardiovascular-related deaths. Researchers suggest that harmful compounds formed during high-temperature frying, especially when oils are reused, may contribute to inflammation and arterial damage. While fried foods may be comforting, moderation is crucial. Opting for healthier cooking methods like baking, grilling, or steaming can help reduce these risks and promote better long-term health. High-heat cooking oils, especially those reused or heated beyond their smoke point, generate harmful trans fatty acids through partial hydrogenation reactions, which have been linked to elevated cardiovascular and metabolic disease risk. In parallel, the Maillard reaction in starchy foods fried at high temperatures produces acrylamide, a neurotoxic and probable human carcinogen that can cross the blood-brain barrier and accumulate in neural tissues. Thermal stressing of polyunsaturated and monounsaturated oils also leads to lipid peroxidation, yielding oxidized lipids and reactive aldehydes that disrupt cellular membranes and impair membrane-bound protein functio. These oxidized byproducts initiate free radical chain reactions in lipids and proteins, causing oxidative damage that activates inflammatory pathways and cytokine release. A seemingly insignificant 1% daily indulgence, whether an extra sugary drink, a few minutes of stress, or a small dietary treat, compounds over the years, quietly eroding your lifespan by up to 2 to 3 years through cumulative cellular damage and metabolic strain. For example, each can of soda alone has been shown to shave off roughly 12 minutes of life, and regular consumption accelerates the toll on cardiovascular and metabolic health. When multiple daily excesses stack, added sugars here, passive stress there, their combined effect magnifies, translating into significant time lost when viewed across decades. This phenomenon is driven in part by chronic inflammation and free radical damage. Excess sugars and stressors generate oxidative stress that shortens telomeres and impairs DNA repair mechanisms. Dish number 4. Canned soups and sodium. One bowl of canned soup can carry over 1,200 milligrams of sodium, more than half of the 2,300 milligrams daily limit recommended by the American Heart Association for most adults. In fact, typical canned varieties often contain 2 servings per can, delivering up to 1,400 to 1,600 milligrams in a single bowl. The World Health Organization advises adults to consume less than 2,000 milligrams of sodium per day to reduce cardiovascular disease risk. Excessive sodium intake raises blood pressure by promoting fluid retention and arterial stiffness, driving hypertension. CDC data show Americans average more than 3,300 milligrams of sodium daily, far exceeding safe levels. High dietary sodium is a modifiable risk factor linked to heart failure hospitalizations and mortality. Clinical research demonstrates that reducing sodium can improve heart failure outcomes and lower blood pressure. Reducing the sodium content in soups by just 30% could translate into thousands of prevented strokes and heart events every year, according to a modeling study that estimated a 0.5% drop in stroke incidence and a 0.2% reduction in heart failure cases With such reformulation, these projections are based on long-term cohort data, showing that higher dietary sodium drives blood pressure elevations in a nearly linear fashion, with each gram of sodium reduction correlating to measurable declines in hypertension prevalence. In Europe and North America, over 75% of sodium intake comes from processed foods, bread, meat products, and notably soups, making targeted sodium cuts in these staples a public health priority. Randomized trials confirm that lowering sodium intake reduces systolic blood pressure by 3 to 5 millimeters of mercury on average. Many low-sodium marketed soups still contain more than 800 milligrams of sodium per cup, far exceeding both FDA and public health guidelines. A single cup of classic chicken noodle soup can deliver up to 1,780 milligrams, while vegetable beef and tomato varieties often score 860 milligrams and 750 milligrams per cup, respectively. The FDA defines low sodium as 140 milligrams or less per serving, and labels anything over 20%. DV 460 milligrams per serving as high in sodium. Given that adults are advised to cap intake at 1,500 to 2,300 milligrams per day by the American Heart Association, even one bowl of these low-sodium soups can supply over one-third of the upper limit. Make your own nutrient-rich veggie broth at home by combining 3 sliced carrots, 2 stalks of celery, 1 diced onion, 2 minced garlic cloves, and a handful of fresh herbs such as parsley or thyme. Add these to a large pot with 4 cups of water, then season with just 1/2 teaspoon of salt per quart. A balance grounded in expert recommendations that avoids excessive sodium while enhancing flavor. Bring the mixture to a gentle boil, reduce to a simmer, and cook for 30 to 45 minutes to fully extract vitamins, minerals, and phytochemicals that support immune function, digestion, and cardiovascular health. Hospitals in Oklahoma. The allium family vegetables, onion and garlic, provide natural antibiotic properties and promote gut healing, while carrots and celery contribute hydration and essential electrolytes without added sugars or preservatives. Homemade broth is naturally lower in sodium and free from artificial additives, making it ideal for long-term heart-healthy and anti-inflammatory diets. Many low-sodium labeled soups still pack more than 800 milligrams of sodium per cup, well over one-third of the 2,300 milligrams daily limit recommended by the FDA. For example, a cup of chicken noodle soup can contain up to 1,780 milligrams, while vegetable beef and tomato varieties often register 860 milligrams and 750 milligrams respectively. The FDA defines low sodium as 140 milligrams or less per serving, yet many cans exceed this by 5 to 6-fold. Dish number 5. Ultra-processed snacks. Ultra-processed foods, UPFs, encompass a wide range of industrially formulated products. Think salty potato chips, ready-to-heat frozen meals loaded with additives, brightly colored sugary breakfast cereals, sodas sweetened with high-fructose corn syrup, instant noodles, packaged snack cakes, reconstituted meat products, and more. These convenience foods are engineered for taste, texture, and shelf life rather than nutrition. Shockingly, UPFs now supply roughly 70% of all daily calories consumed by Americans, displacing whole, minimally processed items like fresh fruits, vegetables, legumes, whole grains, and unprocessed meats. Diets dominated by UPFs are linked to higher rates of obesity, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and certain cancers. Reducing the share of ultra-processed foods, UPFs, in your diet matters more than you might think. A comprehensive meta-analysis spanning 8 countries, including the US, UK, Brazil, Spain, France, Italy, Sweden, and Greece, found that for every 10% increase in calories from UPFs, such as sugary beverages, packaged snacks, ready-to-heat meals, and reconstituted meat products, there was approximately a 3% greater risk of early death from any cause: cardiovascular disease, cancer, or metabolic disorders. These findings held true after adjusting for age, gender, smoking, body mass index, and physical activity levels. With UPFs now accounting for over half of daily energy intake in many high-income countries, Even modest reductions, swapping one ultra-processed snack for a whole food alternative, could translate into meaningful longevity gains. Ultra-processed foods, UPFs, are deliberately engineered flavor bombs, combining high levels of fat, sugar, and salt to overstimulate the brain's reward circuitry and drive compulsive overeating. Research shows that regular consumption of UPFs activates dopamine pathways similarly to addictive substances, reinforcing habitual intake and undermining satiety signals. These hyperpalatable products flood the nucleus accumbens with dopamine, creating intense cravings that override the body's natural appetite regulation. Over time, this neural hijacking leads to increased calorie intake without adequate micronutrient provision, leaving consumers nutrient-starved despite excessive caloric consumption. Neuroimaging studies reveal that UPF exposure reduces activity in the prefrontal cortex, critical for self-control, making it harder to resist subsequent triggers. These seemingly small swaps, ditching processed meats, sodas, fried foods, canned soups, and other ultra-processed items, can add up to substantial gains in longevity. For example, replacing just 10% of daily calories from processed meats with whole food alternatives is estimated to reclaim nearly 48 minutes of life per day, or over 4 hours per week. Cutting one sugary soda a day can preserve about 12 minutes of healthy life, totaling more than 1 hour per week. Reducing frequent fried food intake, linked to a 13% higher mortality risk in older women, by baking or grilling instead, can translate into months of life regained annually. Which dish will you quit first? Tell us in the comments below. If you found this helpful, smash that button to let us know you care about your health and hit subscribe so you never miss our weekly tips. Don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. New science-backed advice drops every Tuesday. Share this video with friends, family, or anyone who might benefit. Sometimes a simple suggestion can make all the difference. Imagine your mom swapping just one unhealthy meal each week. You could literally help her gain extra years of life. Or think about a best friend who downs sugary sodas daily. Your share could be their wake-up call. Every like, every comment, and every share spreads awareness and might just save a life. Ready to start your journey? Let us know which unhealthy dish you'll ditch first, and we'll see you next Tuesday with more easy, practical ways to eat better, feel stronger, and live longer.